Welcome to our pod. And by that, I mean on Wednesdays we read. I'm Hannah.
I'm Laura.
And we are two best friends who do a deep dive into a new book series, one book at a time. Right now, we are ba-dum-bum in the Year of the Dresden.
The Year of the Dresden.
And we are covering the first 17 chapters of Turncoat by Jim Butcher.
Jim Butcher.
A book that questions, is Morgan the best guy of this entire book series?
And you know what? The answer is yes. I said early on, ignore the red flags. And Harry tells us now, ignore the red flags.
Harry visits every single one of his friends in the first 50 pages of this book. Every single one of his friends. He goes, he talks to every single one of them, and they say, isn't that Morgan guy the man who tries to kill you? And Harry says, guys, you just don't know him like I do.
And they're like, from the time you were a child? And he's like, yeah, ignore that. And they're like, and he stalked you most of your life? He's like, no, yeah.
Look,
guys,
he just follows the letter of the law. If you just knew him like I knew him.
He means well. He means well. I can excuse the stalking and trying to incriminate me constantly.
It's like when you had that really shitty ex-boyfriend where you're like, I understand that sometimes he says things that feel like they're a little racist, but it's not that he's racist. It's just that he's like really specific on how he follows the law. And you're like, no, I think you should probably just break up with him.
Yeah. The writing's on the wall.
The writing's on the wall. But before we tell Harry to break up with his shitty ex-boyfriend Morgan, what are you reading, watching, and or enjoying?
So I've read a few things. So I recently picked up a graphic novel called Holler, a graphic memoir of rural resistance. This is written and also I think illustrated too by Denali Nalamalapu. I'm probably Nalamalapu. I think I apologize for my pronunciation of that. But this follows a story of a woman who is basically a climate organizer who gets to interact with 6 people and share their stories of how they became involved in climate justice within the Appalachian area, specifically in regard to the Mountain Valley Pipeline that cuts through Appalachia, and shares how there's 6 individual stories that are illustrated and shared. And the author illustrators sat down with all of these people to see how they became involved and how they decided that climate justice was something that they wanted to fight for. It's an interesting graphic novel. My thing is, it was very short. I wish it was longer. I just wish that we had a lot more there because I thought it was interesting. And I think that these stories are very important. I just wish, and I get it, that graphic novels are really hard in this way to like share these types of stories because it's expensive to make a graphic novel.
Yes.
So like to have multiple colors and everything and to like try to condense things down the way that it was in this book. Like I just wish there was more because I was like, I think this is good. And I think that more people need to know about these things and hear about people's stories and how important it is for people to get involved like this because it is an inspiring thing. But and I feel like it's like the Hunger Games catching fire.
Yeah.
So you catch fire when you hear about other people that are becoming catalysts for change, and you are inspired to do these types of things in your own community. So I think these types of books are important. I just wish that there would have been more info, and a lot of that I think comes down to the amount of funding available is what I'm guessing the issue was. But really good, and like I said, that's my only gripe with it is that there just has to be more there because it's just too brief for me. And I just wish that like these stories of actual like progressive works had more to them, more like, because, like in the book, it's showing like kind of highlight reel type situations. And it's like, yeah, but to get to that point, there were so many things that also had to happen. And then the repercussions of these things that happen afterwards, we're not able to see all that or hear about all that. And I do think that those are important as well. Granted, there's people listening that are like, okay, this is the wrong type of book. You're not reading the right type of book, Laura. But again, it's just like this type of thing could have been a lot longer if we had enough funding, I'm sure.
Correct.
To do this.
When you're talking about like graphic novels and color and like it is something where I want to highlight an older episode of ours with Talia Dutton, where she was
Emma's for
on for,
Monster.
yeah, Emma's for a Monster, where she was talking about her graphic novel, and she talked about the production of a graphic novel, and she didn't realize that like
Hmm.
she had to pick a very selective amount of colors, and there are certain things that
I
go
mean,
into
you
the
have to
production.
hire people to do lettering and everything
Hmm.
too. Like these are all separate processes. I think we take for granted when we see comics being produced so frequently that we're
Yes.
like, oh, well, everybody can pump that out. And it's like, not everybody is Marvel.
Correct.
Like Marvel
Yes.
has so much money. And
Hmm.
I think it's probably really difficult, honestly, for graphic novels to take off and to get the amount of acclaim to be able to say like, okay, now we can have hardcover editions of this graphic novel, or
Yes.
now we can, this has garnered so much attention that we can actually take this from an online format to a
Hmm.
paper format because there's an
Yes.
audience for it who will buy it and everything. So,
Yes.
and a lot of graphic novel series do start off online and
Hmm.
then are adapted to paper. So, and that's why I'm mentioning this.
And
But
how much paper goes into that, and how many
yes,
pages
like
per frame,
ink is
and things like that.
expensive
Yes,
and
all of this goes into
there's
it.
just so
So,
many more collaborators involved when you have any kind of illustrations involved. And
correct.
that goes for children's books as well, because
Hmm.
I know that children's books are, like we we both have nieces and nephews and we buy them books as presents, and we
Yes.
both can see that you and I can buy a 1,000-page book like Lonesome Dove, and it
Hmm.
will cost the same amount as a skinny little picture book for
Yes.
children that has a single sentence per page.
Hmm.
But the production cost is probably so much higher because there's so many people
Correct.
involved with that picture book. And I think we often discount that, the amount of hands that are involved in making any kind of illustrated format. So
Correct.
yeah, this is really my only gripe with Holler, because I think that it does a really good job showing like the diversity of people who are involved in progressive change for our climate and trying to protect our world. And I think it does a really good job like highlighting diversity and the people that are trying to enact change. I just, like I said, the only gripe is there needs to be more funding given to stories like this, because graphic novel formats of these things are actually very important.
Hmm.
Because I've been on a soapbox lately where I've been really encouraging people, because we're in a literacy crisis. Everybody on Bookstagram's been talking about it, and Book Talk too, about like how
Hmm.
nobody reads anymore, and people are using AI to summarize books and to summarize everything because they can't even read an article. I am getting so sick of people demonizing certain forms of reading. And the most
Hmm.
frequently attacked forms of reading seem to be any kind of graphic novel and
Hmm.
audiobooks, which to me honestly feels ableist in both forms. But I do think that, especially for people who even are people who are not disabled, having access to audiobooks and graphic novels is a launch pad into
Yes.
reading other things, and also helps with comprehension. Because if you're
Yes.
able to absorb the context of a situation or become interested in reading through an audiobook or through a graphic novel, you're going to be more likely to start to pick up other books because it's going to
Correct.
encourage you to do so. So I do think that graphic novels, even though like I'm complaining about this one not having as much as I would like it to have, it's a very important format because
Right.
this is something that could be a launch pad for someone to read something like this. And if it would have more to it, to be like, oh, you know what? I would like to read another book about climate justice. And I think that's really important, and why we need to pay more attention to the amount of money that we are giving to people who are producing or publishing
Right.
graphic novels and the artists who
Well,
are
also, your
creating these
criticism
works.
is I wish these were funded by people who were willing, or I wish these were more popular so it had the funding that it deserved.
Yes,
It's not like, I wish the writer would have known to make this longer. It was like, I wish this
it's
had
absolutely
more,
not the writer's
like,
fault.
right.
It's a,
Like, this was not, that's not even your criticism. Your
no, 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 no.
criticism was like,
The
this is so
the
much wonderful. We should have given more funding to
mhm.
people who do things like this. Like,
Yeah,
that's actually the criticism. So,
the
yeah,
author did nothing wrong and is actually doing a
correct.
great job trying to highlight people's stories like this, because these
Correct.
are the stories of what I would consider ordinary people who are doing big things, because
Correct.
I am often inspired by ordinary people because I consider myself an ordinary person and I would like to do big things someday. And
Hmm.
I think that people like this, being highlighted is inspiring. But like I said, I just wish that we could provide the funds to
Yeah.
these people so that they can have their work highlighted on a grander level or on a more
Yeah.
expansive level so we can learn more about it and help
Yeah.
other people. A flame catches fire, a spark catches fire,
Of
just like
course.
the Hunger
Thank you,
Games.
Katniss.
Thank you, Katniss Everdeen. You know what? I've been in such like a mood of like wanting to delve back into all the Hunger Games stuff recently.
Tatiana Maslany does excellent audiobooks. If we're talking about audiobooks that deserve love, Laura, just read those because she
I
does
was
such
half
an excellent
tempted the
job.
other day. I was like at the library and somebody returned the Hunger Games books and the movies, and I was like, should I text Hannah? Should we just skip everything and get back into the Hunger Games?
Oh my
Like,
gosh.
like,
Like,
let's drop Dresden. We're going back into the Hunger Games.
could you imagine just like being like so funny to like what 5 years into the podcast be like the next series we're doing as we do a deep dive into a new book series, one book at a time, is to do the Hunger Games. Like,
I'm
on
I'm ready for it.
you know what I
My
do
body
want
is
to
ready.
do you know what I do want to do though? There's a lady who did a spoof video of the Hunger Games. Like she did a YouTube video of it, like a satire of it. And I do want to cover that for a TV Tuesday because it's supposed to be really
Okay.
funny. And I think that you and I would enjoy that. And we have
You know what?
covered
I
Hunger Games media.
I am actually a huge Hunger Games stan. I've
Well, we've already covered media and we've talked about it
I
ad nauseum. Like I talk about Ballad of
I think
Songbirds
about
and
it a
Snakes
lot.
audio. Yeah. So actually, let's cover that woman doing, because I'll have to send you like, there's a specific
The thing,
audio
Hannah,
thing.
is it's gonna get me into a deep dive, and I'm gonna be like fully all in on Hunger Games, and then I'm just gonna have a hyperfixation on it.
Well, again, like I talk about Tatiana Maslany's audiobook so much. So you need to
Mhm.
listen to those because I don't think you've listened to
Yeah,
those yet. Have
I
you?
th so I've listened to the two prequel
Okay.
audiobooks.
So you haven't listened to her version of the Hunger
No, I
Games.
haven't listened to the original trilogy because I read the
She
original trilogy like pumping through that in college.
correct. So honestly, go get those audiobooks, Laura, because she does a
Okay,
wonderful audiobook narration of them. She like sings them and her voice is beautiful. I highly recommend. I'm here for this audio deep dive of yours.
well, I'm gonna have to do it.
Do it. Do it.
I also read another graphic novel that I'm so sad it's over. The series is
Oh.
over, but Heartstopper Volume 6.
Yes, I didn't
And
know you were reading
I-
this.
it, it was so perfect. And this is another good example of like a series that garnered a lot of acclaim and
Hmm.
fans and was able to. This is also an example of a series that was able to push limits of what is quote unquote acceptable, I would say, as far as this is a book that's probably more geared towards a YA audience. And
Yeah.
we see like situations arising in this surrounding like identity and gender and mental illness and abusive relationships and body positivity and things that I think would easily get this series banned. And
Yeah.
this book series maybe has been banned in certain places,
Yeah.
but this is one where I'm like, I think because of the general acclaim that this series has received, that the author illustrator Alice Oseman has been able to do great things and show so many children and adults too a wonderful representation of kids in high school and things that kids actually go through and how difficult it is to just get by and
Yeah.
be trying to discover ourselves and help others through life. Like that should be our goal, honestly, in life is to be taking care of others and helping each other through. And I think that
Correct.
this is a series that does that so well. And I think that it helped that this series was able to get a lot of fans behind it and support it. And it really had a wonderful story arc for these characters. And I'm sad that it's done, but I'm so happy that it's out here for people to read and consume. I'm excited for what Alice Oseman does next.
Yeah.
And the show is also a wonderful adaptation. It's just volume 6 was so great. I loved it, loved it, loved it. It made me cry.
Oh, good.
It was it. and I'm just attached to the characters and everything too. I just think it was a great graphic novel. And this is a wonderful graphic novel series. Heartstopper is fantastic. So anyone
Yeah.
who is looking for a wonderful story about teens discovering themselves and growing as people and just getting through life, helping each other
Yeah.
through life. It's it's beautiful. And we need to support more stories like this because it's just great. The last thing I'll talk about, I have a new favorite. I
Oh.
I have so many favorite books, but I read Automatic Noodle by Annalee
Oh, I've been
Newitz.
meaning to read this. So
Oh my
I've been
gosh, it's
okay.
so cute. I
No
love it so
spoilers because I'm
much.
so sorry not to do this on the podcast, but this is specifically a book I've been dying to read and I've avoided all spoilers. So please tell me everything about it, but tell me nothing about it.
Okay, well, that's very difficult because it's a very short book. It's a
I
novella,
know.
and it centers it centers around a restaurant in San Francisco and
Okay.
an area that has been kind of all torn up because of a war that has
Okay.
gone through, and a group of robots are abandoned in this restaurant, this kitchen, and they decide that, and they're basically indentured servants. They decide that they are going to start a restaurant
Okay.
and basically earn their freedom through the funds that they make in this restaurant. And it's such a great story. I love it so much. And I'm like,
Okay.
some of the reviews and ratings on Goodreads, I'm like, this book is not rated high enough. People need to
Okay.
love this more.
Maybe this is
And
another one we just need to cover this for the podcast because I've been dying to read this one as
oh my
well. And
gosh, I
maybe we
love
just
it
do a
so
bonus
much.
episode on it because like
I
this
was
is
like 20
one.
pages in and I'm like, is this a new favorite book?
Okay,
Yes, it is.
I've literally been dying. I like the cover of it. It just says like I want
It's
to read this book
beautiful.
so much, and I've been obsessed with the thought of this book for
It's cozy
ages.
sci-fi, so it's
Okay,
easily my sweet spot. I
okay,
just love it so much. I love the characters and I loved what it was trying to say and the things that were happening. Like it's just great. And
okay,
I think that it's very topical. I mean, it's something that very much fits the timeline that we are in.
got it.
And a lot of the situations that are happening to the characters in this are very much relatable to the timeline that we are in. How this will
Perfect.
hold up later on, I don't know. But if you're looking at it from this specific time point, if we look back on it, I think that people will be able to really appreciate, like, oh, yeah, that was definitely a product of its time. And that a lot of the commentary being made makes absolute sense that these types of things
Amazing.
are being discussed, like climate and indentured servitude, the way that we view
Humans.
who is human and who is
Yeah.
not, humanity in general. I would also say you can throw in there like immigration is
Yeah.
definitely a topic that is hit upon. I'm trying not to spoil it too much,
No, I know.
so
Yeah. Oh,
I'll have to wrap it up a
oh
little
my
bit because
gosh.
this is a
Let me go
very
run out and get it from the library and just
but
like read it as
culture
fast as I
is
can. Yeah.
it's so good. Culture is
Okay.
also a really important part of this that I think is very much something that is appreciated and talked about in this novella too. But it's a new favorite. I love it
Okay.
so much. It's
Sounds
so
good.
good. The cover's beautiful, and yeah, and the inside is beautiful too. I love
Okay.
Automatic Noodle. It's
Okay.
I think I kind of want to buy it
Okay.
because I'm like I can see myself rereading this and
Maybe
really
I'll buy it for you and I'll read it
appreciating
first.
like stay behind is let me stay behind. Like
Okay.
even the robots themselves, like you get so attached to them. Like, why am I
Okay.
always getting attached to robots in books? Becky, Martha, Annalee, stop doing this to me. But yeah, it's a new favorite, and
Okay.
I really love it so much. I want everyone to read Automatic Noodle and give it the 5 stars that it deserves.
Perfect. Okay.
Gosh, quit
Good to know.
skewing the ratings here, people. So, Hannah, what have you been reading, watching, and/or enjoying?
So for reading, I dove into the critical darling of the year, Yesteryear by Carol Claire Burke. Don't know if you've heard
All
of
the thoughts,
this.
all the thoughts. I need all the
All
thoughts.
the thoughts on this book. So
I
for
have heard
those
of
of
it
you
so
who
much.
haven't heard of this, what bunker
Where
are
have you
you living
been?
in? Well, I mean, a lot of our people who are tuning in for Dresden Files, this is a
This is a white
book.
woman book,
This
so
is a white woman book. So, like,
white women
buckle up.
sound off. You've heard it.
So this is a white woman thriller where you have a woman trad wife who is an influencer online who lives in this like rolling farm in Utah, I believe. or maybe Wyoming. And then she kind of like she's this influencer. She has a bunch of kids. She has this beautiful home and just a life that she loves. And we see a day in her life, and then and we realize that her life may not be what it seems, and she has 8 million followers online.
It
You
never
know,
is as it seems.
and then all of a sudden she wakes up and she has rocketed back into the 1800s and to the traditional home that she
She claims she
always
wanted.
tried. Yeah, she claims she wanted. And it's this weird suffering journey into the unknown. And it's this thriller of what's going on. And what happened to her, and then we get this like back and forth of her early life and how she got to where she was on the day that we met her. And this book is strange. It's very bizarre. I would say there's a lot of discourse on this book. It really skyrocketed into fame even before it hit the newsstand because Anne
It was a book of the
Hathaway.
month book
It was
too, which helps.
it was Book of the Month. Anne Hathaway got it before it was even published, and she bought the rights to create a movie about it. Anne Hathaway will be starring in a film about this. And so, like,
Interesting.
it was going to be a film before it hit these shelves. Like, this was going to be a
Okay.
film. This was going to be big. So I was kind of just cursorily interested in this. And I will say the ending kind of surprised me. I was a little surprised because, like, I was reading this and I was kind of like, it's a thriller. I was like, okay, it can go a couple different ways. And I wasn't quite expecting what it ended up being. Like, I was like, oh,
Sure.
I wasn't expecting this. I thought it was going to be some type of way, and I don't want to ruin it for people who want to be surprised. So it's hard to kind of talk about this book on the like thriller aspect of it, where you're getting into this mystery of like, how did she get into the 1800s,
Hmm.
But I do think a lot of people are talking about this book in various ways, where a lot of people kind of are getting hung up on the trad wife of it all, because right now a lot of people are selling trad wives in
Sure.
media. A lot of people are comparing it to a trad wife influencer, Ballerina Farms.
Ballerina Farm. Oh, I don't
Yeah,
know. Sorry.
a woman, and I
A
kind
woman
of,
who drinks raw milk
yeah, and
and wears a fluffy dress and is hot.
yes, and I kind of like, I think, I don't know. There's a lot of things you can say about people on the internet. Lots of people sell things on the internet. Usually they're rich, usually they're white, usually they're pretty, and usually they're selling a very specific aesthetically pleasing version of themselves.
Hmm.
Um, Laura and I, like, I have a bookstagram. I sell pretty pictures of books I have. They're curated content. Um, I think that there's a lot of discussions to be had of what people share on the internet. I think with how social media has changed over the years, that is an interesting discussion point because people have started having social media enter their homes more and more and more. And I think with the rise of showing children's faces on the
I
internet,
was gonna
that's the
say,
more
to me,
interesting
where it
discussion
crosses the
point.
line is when we're entering into, like, if people want to show
Correct.
themselves and their things or whatever, but when we start to show other
Monetize
people and
children.
are
That's
monetizing children or even spouses too, because I see a
correct.
lot of people who are recording things and you see like a spouse like trying to like get out of the way. They don't want to be
Mhm.
in the shot or whatever. I'm like, that's where it starts to cross the line when we've got people that aren't
Correct.
really consenting.
And so that's like, I think that that is a more interesting topic. This book is interested in looking at that. I would also say that this book is looking at a very specific portion of that, where like her husband, his dad is a senator who wants to run for president. So it's also kind of like it is like looking at a very specific cherry-picked version of all of
Mhm.
these types of things. So it is looking at it from a very satirical portion of cherry-picked versions of all of these things. So I think that that's a very interesting take on this. Um, and I think it is very voyeuristic in its take of this because I
Sure.
think this is a book to be. I I don't know how I feel about this book overall. From a thriller aspect, I was surprised by the ending. From a liberal person consuming this about a trad woman going into the traditional 1800s, it is meant to be consumed by liberal people. I think that that is the intent of this book when you're reading it. If you look at the author, I think that that is obvious. It is meant for liberal people. It's kind of meant to be a little bit of a like a tone pone for liberal people in my mind, where it's like, ah, look at these people who are obviously religious, but obviously look down upon liberal people who hate us, who don't, and there's kind of a little bit of like they're cherry picking the worst of the worst, without having any mindset of like looking at any person who gets into this mindset kindly, like they're looking at
Mm.
this from the satirical worst of the worst, which is always like this character is reprehensible to me. I didn't find much kindness in her, I
Can
think
I ask a question? So,
yeah.
like, you're thinking that probably the majority of the readership will be liberals, but I'm questioning. So, like, this is a very popular book right now
Yeah.
that lots of people are going to see this book online or advertised in different places, even being heavily advertised at libraries, etc. Do you think people on the opposite end of the spectrum politically will pick this book up and will they
No,
be turned off by it, by some of the messaging? Like they'll be able to pick up on that immediately? Or do you think it's something that might slightly move the needle a little bit? Because
I
we've had
don't
discussions about this with like certain books where it's like, yeah, I think that this is saying things that are important, but the audience that it's hitting might not be an audience that needs to hear this. But if it hits the right people, it might move the needle slightly. It might give a message to people who
I'm
need
not
it.
sure about that because like Natalie is a character who like small spoilers, but like it's for her actual farm, so I don't think it's that much. Like her farm espouses like organic living. They use pesticides. Like they're hiding
Okay.
pesticides on their farm.
Okay.
Her husband goes down the alt-right pipeline of like incel culture. Like they definitely are like, this is what a real woman looks like, and
Hmm.
like they go to rallies where it's kind of obviously Trump supporters, and she has like very little appreciation for the people around her. She kind of finds them disgusting. And so when it's like moving the needle, I'm like, there's not much self-awareness on the other side
Sure.
for this either. So I don't know how much it's moving the needle on that end either. It kind of just feels, and maybe I'm just not the right person to read it because I'm super
Yeah, it'd
liberal
be
reading
interesting to
this.
come upon somebody who has different political views and see
Yeah.
what they think of it.
And like to me when I was reading it, I was like, a lot of this, like it's looking at her father-in-law through like a very specific lens. And she's kind of seen as like a character where the emperor has no clothes, where she's like talking a big game.
Hmm.
But like a lot of people read it where I did read her, like a lot of people online who are very liberal. The one interesting thing I thought was a lot of people who were very liberal often said like they didn't see her as an actual Christian person. I did. I actually thought she had like a lot of faith in this book. I saw her with a lot of hatred inside of herself. Like, I don't think she was a very, like, I think, you could be a religious person and a hypocrite. I saw her as a hypocrite in a lot of ways, but that didn't necessarily mean she wasn't religious. It meant she had a
We've
lot
kind
of,
of lost the plot with Christianity, though, where I think
yeah, I know.
even a lot of people who would consider themselves liberal or progressive are having a hard time recognizing religious people
Yes.
because, and you and I talked about this recently with all the Ellen Rickson conversation, because people are like amazed, like, what? He's religious and he actually thinks some people deserve humanity.
Right.
But
Well,
I
she
think
definitely
that a
didn't
lot of,
believe a lot of people deserved humanity, but I was like, no, I
well,
actually
sure,
think
but
she believes in religion, but like,
yeah, I think that we've lost the plot on the like who is religious and who is
yeah,
not because of the way that Christian nationalism is working its way
yes.
into our country.
And maybe that's it, is like she wasn't a huge Christian national, but and like the author very specifically didn't want her to have a denomination. So like
Yeah,
because she didn't have a denomination, I think sometimes it's hard for people to be like, oh, she's not a religious person
sure.
because she has no religion. And I'm like, no, she seemed like a very Christian person.
Mhm. Mhm.
Um, but like to me, it felt like it didn't move the needle very much because it felt more thriller than it did like an actual discussion of like looking at trad wives and having an actual criticism, because they were kind of taking a person who had a lot of the like the highest of the highs of like, oh, her husband was the senator's son and da da da, but maybe it does move the needle a little bit more
Mhm.
because maybe it is like, well, a person like this does typically have a lot of a lot of privileges that people aren't going to see online when they're thinking about it. And I'm just not thinking about it
Hmm.
from that perspective because to me that seems very baseline to understand that, and to
Hmm.
other people it doesn't. But it also, and my mind is jumping a lot on these because I have a lot of mixed thoughts on this, because it kind of goes to another thought that came up recently on a Bechtelcast episode we had, or
Hmm.
that I heard Jamie Loftus talked about the movie Obsession, where during times of like conservative backlash, a lot of like trends in media tend to get very obsessed with the thought processes of the oppressor. Like,
Sure.
so Obsession is about a movie of a man who wants his female friend to love him more than anyone else in the world.
Hmm.
We're having a conservative backlash of what it means to be masculine, and like conservative men want women to want them, you know? So
Hmm.
now we have this media thing where it is looking at that assessment, but we're kind of fascinated with it. And so it's like, oh, we're having conservative backlash right now. Let's look at the trad wife. We're interested in that. And now everyone's obsessed with this book. And I'm like, oh,
Hmm.
should we be really highlighting that? And you and I talked a little bit about this off mic, and I think it is good to have those discussions because it's like you said, like it could potentially move the needle, but
Hmm.
it also is frustrating of like, but then we're still talking about the people who are oppressing others. Like,
Yeah.
no matter what, we're still
And
talking
I
about
think
the
you and I both
oppressors.
said the same thing
Like,
too, where we were both like, we're getting frustrated with the conversation surrounding like white men are lonely and white
yeah.
men need to be coddled and
Yes.
things like that. And it's like, quit trying to oppress everyone.
And
Stop
like,
it.
again, I go
You
back
won't
to
be
like
lonely.
totally understand. Also, when
Lay
white
off our
women,
hip dips.
like, well, like, yes. And like, the thing is, like, totally understand that has to be frustrating. I do remember being told women were the problem when I was growing up, and I got millions of hobbies because I was told I might not have children. And I probably didn't want kids growing up, and that was also necessary. But like, I got tons of hobbies. I learned how to get a
Women with
job.
kids need
At,
hobbies too.
yeah.
Just throwing it out there. You gotta have an
So
identity outside of your kids.
like women were told like, hey, you guys are the problem, stop expecting men to just want to marry you. And then we all got personalities, and then men were like, but wait, we're lonely, you're supposed to want to marry us. And like we became the problem somehow after being told
You're
we were the
boring.
problem.
You're boring.
Like, so it is frustrating when you're reading a book like this that blew up so hard, when you're like, oh, this is frustrating because why,
Hmm.
why is this book the one that's getting like Anne Hathaway super excited, when the other book I read, that I do want to talk about to give more of a highlight to next week,
Sure.
is There by Tommy Orange, which is a book written by a Native Indian author that is about Native Indians in the city, because he was like, I'm sick of reading about Native Indians in like rural areas,
On
because
reses. Yeah.
yeah, because he's like, we exist in the city too, and we are very important everywhere. And it's like, yes. And like that book was amazing. And I'm like, why aren't those books being like super important and blazoned everywhere?
Yeah.
And instead, it's just like, did you hear about this trad wife who gets put into 1800? And it's just like, why are we still so obsessed with white women as the mold? Like, that is a very frustrating experience. So I think that,
Well,
like,
again, that
yeah.
also leans into what you were saying. Like, we're in a conservative time
Hmm.
in life where, unfortunately, like, we can look at what's getting published and we are not highlighting diverse voices enough. And the
Correct.
most quote unquote diversity that is likely happening right now is they're like, white women, it's diversity. And we're like, no, stop.
Stop. Like, yeah, and that is, I get it. It's satirical. I think it's interesting. I read it, so like obviously I'm part of the problem, but like I read it because I was interested in how much is being talked about in this.
Mhm.
But like, I don't know. I don't know. It was fine. I don't. I
You know
think
what?
it
I
was.
appreciate this book already just from the standpoint of I like books like this that make people think.
Yes.
And
And yes.
from this standpoint alone, I'm like, this book is very worthwhile. That it is causing people to have conversations and think deeply about the ways that it is affecting culture and the ways that our culture affects publishing.
But I want people to be having the conversation I'm having. I don't want people to be having the like woman back in 1800 thriller conversation. Like, I want it to go deeper. Like, if you're going to be
Oh.
putting this book on a pedestal, it needs to have a deeper discussion than just white woman trad wife. Are trad wives ruining the country? Like, you have to
Mhm.
go deeper. It has to be a deeper discussion of what we're discussing, what the culture means. Like I
I
want
think
it to
that
be a
gets
bigger
into
deal.
media literacy in general,
Yes,
that people just need to read more and be able
correct.
to interpret what they're reading more. So,
Right.
again, a launch pad, perhaps.
Yes.
And this is something that maybe people get into this book. I keep falling back on this just kind of being a starting point for a lot of people, that it is
Yes.
going to spark discussion and be a launch pad for people. And maybe they read this book and they're not able to take away those things, Hannah, but maybe it's something then they're interested in more books, and then they can reflect back on it and be like, maybe I should reread that. I think that there was
Yes.
a lot of this stuff that happened.
Yes, and like please do. Like use this as a launch pad. Don't be like, I need to read five other books that are just like this. Like
Hmm.
don't
Hmm.
go seek out the theirs because that is a good book and that is a
Sure,
like
sure.
a fundamentally like similar like lit fic like it also has like some
I also
thrillery
think too,
aspects
like,
like
and I
yeah.
need to be better about this too, to read more books that challenge
Hmm.
you. Like, so I have been in just a mood of reading a lot of things that have brought me comfort recently, but I think it's really important to read books that challenge you and to interact with people who challenge your viewpoints too,
Yeah.
that don't necessarily always believe the exact same thing as you. And we had talked about this recently too with another thing, but I won't get into that because we're cutting it close here. But yeah, I think it's important to read things that challenge you. And if this is something that's not challenging you, or you're not trying to think deeply, you don't have to think deeply all the time. Sometimes you can just
Right.
read freaking Rooster Fighter manga and just be like, I'm checking
Sometimes you
out.
could read Something Wilder by Christina Lauren, another book I
Yes.
also read. Like it's fine. We're
You
not
can
saying
read stuff that is just pure garbage or pure fun or
correct.
whatever. But I do think it's important to occasionally, or as often as you can, read things that are challenging your mindset, or
Correct.
interact with forms of media that are challenging you to think deeper about things. And I think
Yes.
this is an example of maybe something that could challenge people to think deeper about things. And
Yeah.
maybe they need to read more things. I mean, people in general need to read more
Yes.
things that are challenging them to think about other forms of media more
Yes.
critically.
Correct. So lots of complicated thoughts about Yesteryear. I do think it's a book where it's like I want this to be a step zero, not a step five
It's
for
not the
people.
final step.
It's not a final step. And I do think like there's a lot of complicated thoughts about, and again, like white women are part of the problem. I'm not saying they're not, but like the trad wife content is a very specific discussion, but also a very specific discussion of like,
I
why
think
do
white women are definitely part of the problem, but white women also need to have their eyes open to things too. So, and that's why I keep saying, like, maybe for some people, this is something that kind of
yeah.
moves the needle.
And I hope it moves the needle. And like, this woman is awful in this book and like very complicated and very, yeah. And but there are certain scenes where I'm like, I hope, like, there were certain scenes I read and I was like, if the scene is read a certain way without media literacy or like certain things aren't questioned later in the book, certain people are also read as very toxic and bad. And I wish certain things were said more on the page that were a little bit harsher towards like
Sure.
that called into question certain characters a little bit more. Cause like
Hmm.
there were something happened that was like questionably a rape scene that was really bad, if I'm
Mm.
remembering correctly. And then later on, someone was like, I questioned if that actually what, or like someone accused someone of like a very uncomfortable like sexual experience. And I was like, oh, like, and it was the implication was that this woman was lying about someone putting her in an uncomfortable sexual experience
Okay.
because he didn't ask her out again. And then I was reading a review and they were like, my reading of that was that Natalie's experience was wrong, that she was lying, that she didn't understand what
Oh,
happened. And I was like,
okay.
I think that there are different interpretations of that scene. But if Natalie's experience wasn't wrong in that scene, then what that woman did was awful. And like,
Yeah.
and I think that that's an interesting discussion point. But like, then that's also terrible. Like, and like,
Mhm.
I couldn't quite pinpoint what the author wanted me to think in everything, which is the whole
Sure.
point of the novel. But it was a very complicated experience as I was going through all the beats of this novel, and I felt very complex things. So it is a deep novel, lots of
Hmm.
thoughts, but like, I do question why this book, why is it this book that gets so much impact when there are so many other books that have a lot of deep meaning and deep thought. And
I mean, a lot
yeah,
of it is just white people's books are highlighted more,
yes.
which
And
is a
yeah,
huge thing, because you and I both have talked about this before, and it needs to be addressed more, that we need to be reading more diversity. And
yes.
there are people of color who have been saying the things for a
Yeah.
long time,
Newitz.
and white people are just like, well, what? We came up with an idea. And it's like,
Look at this. And you're like,
look at us again. And it's like,
okay.
stop.
Yeah.
But
But
people of color have been doing the work for a long time, and we need to start giving them money for doing their work
correct.
and yeah, and publishing their works.
And then on this on the on the discussion of cultural conservative backlash leading to some media having questions of things that we're interested in, I did start watching The Righteous Gemstones again, Laura.
Yes. Okay.
And it is excellent TV. It is just very funny. It's very good.
It's hard to
Um,
stop watching that show, honestly.
we are about a season and a half in.
Mhm.
We toned it down a little bit because Paul's favorite video game, Path of Exile, came out, so he's
Okay.
been playing that all weekend. But
Sure.
it is very good.
Don't you just love
Boy,
Danny McBride?
I he it
I love
is
that man because, and you know what? He was recently on Conan O'Brien's podcast and they were talking about this show because Conan loves Righteous Gemstones.
of course.
And he was talking about how the characters in that show are handled in such a unique way that they're not necessary. Like they handle them from the perspective of like, these are bad people, but
Yes.
they still treat them with respect. And I'm like,
Yes.
that is actually a very astute way to look at that, Conan. You would have never guessed that Conan graduated from Harvard, top of his class, but and knows so much about comedy. But it's a very astute way to look at that show because I'm like, that's absolutely right. That show does always treat the characters with respect while still absolutely pointing out how terrible they are.
Yes. I will say the hardest character for me to have compassion for is Judy for some reason. She
Oh, I
seems to
thought you
be
were
the
going to say
worst.
Uncle Baby Billy.
Uncle Baby Billy, no, well, he is, I
He's
mean, of
so
the main
ridiculously
characters.
bad
Yeah,
that
he's ridiculously bad. I mean, of the main characters, Judy is the
sure.
one that is hardest for me to have sympathy for.
Judy
She
is, they're all the worst,
is
but Judy is
objectively the
bad.
worst to me for some reason, but like it is very funny because every
I
time
think
John
it's hard
Goodman,
because of the way that she treats her partner too. It's just like
well,
he
and
is
then you
so
find
kind
out
to you.
I'm so sorry. You find out the backstory of her and the professor, and it is hard to come
Yes.
back from that. Like it is incredibly hard to come back after you hear that backstory.
There's
Like I'm
so many
so sorry.
horrendous things that happen though to these people that you're just like, what on
Oh
earth?
my God. Like the problem is like Jesse as a character is so stupid that sometimes he gets himself into stupid things that you're like, I honestly for some reason you seem so ridiculous that like you get out of stupid situations, but like Judy seems smart enough that she seems like she should be implicated.
I don't
Like,
know.
she
I don't
seems
know.
culpable. But I
She also
the
seems dumb to me.
yeah, but Adam Devine or Adam
Adam Devine. Yeah.
Devine's character Calvin, he always seems like the nicest of the three for some reason, but also the most ridiculous. So I don't
He
know.
always seems like the most with it to me out of the
Yeah,
three of them.
he is the most with it, but like because of that, he
I
also
feel
seems
like
like the one who believes the most in God, so I feel bad for him.
I feel
I
like the
was like,
egos of
yes,
Judy and Jesse
Jesse.
always get in their way
Yes.
and prevent me from actually thinking that they are smart. I
Yeah,
just can never think that they are smart because I'm like, their egos are so large that they just think they're smart, but they're actually
correct.
idiots.
Yes.
So I've never really like thought like, oh, they're actually
Like
smart. No,
Calvin actually
they think
sometimes
they're amazing.
seems to believe in the message, and I'm like, wow, like that's
Calvin
wild.
just
Out
has a
of
little bit of like
stupid puppy
internal
energy.
struggle that the other two don't have. The
Yeah.
other two are just very much like narcissists,
Yes.
and
Well,
and
he'll
I
be
just
like,
feel
I
like
think we should
Calvin
tell
has a lot less
dad.
than that.
Like he's like, I think we should tell dad. He seems like he should help us handle this. I'm like, I do actually think you guys should tell your dad. Like, you
Yes,
guys, like that does
he's.
seem like the
I
best
hate
option
saying
right
this, but
now.
he's John Goodman is the brains of the operation. I hate referring to families like that, but John Goodman is the brains of this
Well, and
fictional family.
every time he's on screen, my husband's just like, the problem is like you can't root against John Goodman. It's really hard.
John
Like,
Goodman is amazing in everything. We've been
I know.
rewatching Community, and he's like showing up
Oh
as the vice
yeah.
dean of the air
Yes.
conditioner repair school, and my husband was like, even in this, he's good.
Yeah. Like I know. And I do feel bad for BJ. He does seem like
BJ has it rough.
he does have it rough. So no, yeah, no, we've been watching that. We're a season and a half in.
Mhm.
Wild, wild stuff. I don't know why Calvin decided to become like masculine man in season two. He seemed
It's so
fine.
funny with his troop that
His troop. It seemed fine when he was just youth group guy. Like,
I can't remember at what point this is a slight spoiler, but it's not a huge one where it doesn't change the plot. There's like a point where they're going to be allowed to like they allow Jesse to give the sermon at the
oh yeah.
Easter Sunday,
Hmm.
and they allow Judy to sing the
Yes.
song that's happening during the collection.
And
And they
then
said, and then
Calvin gets to do
Calvin,
the same thing he's always
you
done.
will lead the youth,
Yes.
and he's like, so
The
like
thing I've always done.
same thing I'm always doing, and
Okay.
then they just keep talking about how important it is for the other two, and Calvin's just like,
Just
and
same
I don't
thing.
get to do anything. I'm just doing the same thing.
I'm just doing the same thing. Okay, good. All right, great. Um, that
I will
uh,
also say though, Danny McBride, like all of their accents in this crack me up.
also they have so many funny background scenes though because in season one, Calvin, the young girl who like he gets to like start attending the youth group events,
Yeah.
she comes and she tells him that his little Satan friend like went back to Satan and she shows him the Instagram and he's scrolling through the photos of the friend going back to Satan and it flashes to one of the photos and she's liked one of the photos and it was the funniest thing I've ever seen. Like I was like, why did she like a photo? Like
Miss a single detail.
like why would she have liked that photo? I was dying. I was like, did you see that photo? Like she liked one. Like
I don't know why, but I just feel like so much of this is just like brainchild of Danny McBride, where he's just like, you know, it'd be freaking hilarious
if she liked a
if
photo.
she liked that photo.
So stupid. It was, but it was very funny.
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
that honestly, he's just a very funny man who has had some absolute bangers of shows.
But
Like Vice Principals is great too.
I've never
I
seen
don't know.
Vice
I
Principals,
don't
but
know if
I'll have to
anybody's
watch.
watched Eastbound and Down. Like that, that one's really good too. He's just so good at creating
I
these
will
absolutely
say,
ridiculous comedy
in
shows.
season two, though, every time the woman who plays his wife is on screen, I'm always like, I'm so sorry. How is she married to him? Because she is so fucking gorgeous.
This happens
Like,
all the time, Hannah. It absolutely makes sense.
it's every time she's on screen, I'm just like, she is the most beautiful woman I've ever seen.
That's
She
the point
is
of it all.
so
She's
disgustingly gorgeous. Like, it's flawless how
Mhm.
beautiful she is.
And
It's
she's extremely
disgusting.
smart and
Like, yeah,
competent, so of course she would be with him.
I know.
Because this
She's
happens all the time. We
so
see it in real
pretty.
life constantly.
I know.
It's the
I
Kevin
like
Knapp himself.
I know that's true. But like every time, oh God. And like in season one when he's like, well, I didn't sleep with anyone. And she was like, because the prostitute's breath smell. Like, and I was like, she's so pretty. Like,
Mhm.
stop it. Oh gosh. So yeah. Well,
Well, keep me
Laura,
posted because I really enjoy that show.
shall we dive in to Turncoat?
Let's do it.
So we start with our favorite man, Morgan, at Harry's door.
Morgan.
The White Council has attacked him and stabbed him.
He's on the run basically, and he's like, "Where do I go? My my enemy. The only place they won't look for me."
It's so funny because he's like, I need Harry's help, but I also need to insult him at every moment and tell him he's the worst human being alive.
And
Um,
also just be very suspicious and like
oh
attack
my God.
people that are trying to help Harry and me.
Oh
Like Morgan,
gosh.
get a grip.
Yeah, I know. So he has been stabbed. So Harry calls Butters, who takes care of Morgan to the best of his abilities. He said
Which
Morgan
is so weird to bring in.
all the time. Well, we haven't seen
Alexander.
Butters in a while. I'm surprised he didn't
Well,
bring in
yes.
his polka music. So he
We
he
have to have that hashback that, you know, like, oh, we have to remember where Butters we were introduced to him and that he's a medical examiner. Really great guy.
he's a good
Harry scrubs
guy,
into surgery.
but he is funny when he's like, I'm doing the best I can, but like I am
He's like,
not a
I'm not a
professional.
doctor.
Uh, I'm a professional. No. He points out that Harry is part of the wardens, but he's also helping Morgan, who was
Mhm,
stabbed by the wardens, and it's complicated, as Harry
mhm.
points out. Harry believes that Morgan is typically someone who is on the right side of history, even though he also wants to murder Harry a lot. So, like,
It's the thing is, it's like Harry's making all these excuses for Morgan, and what it basically boils down to is that the reason Harry keeps making excuses for him is that he's like, he's not necessarily a good guy, but he always follows the rules, which makes him a good guy. And it's like, But does it?
The
I
hoops he jumps through. Again, it goes back to what I said about like, it's like that weird ex-boyfriend where you're like, look, he said some racist things, but he is progressive in a lot of ways. And you're like, I still think he said some racist things, and that's a bad thing. Like, I don't think you should like this man, Harry. Um, when he meets Molly, I'm just like, this man is reprehensible here. I don't know what's
Mhm.
happening here. I
Well, and then he makes excuses for him to Molly.
Oh
It's
my
mind
gosh.
blowing.
Oh God, it's so bad. Um, so anyway, he's like, "Well, I can't go look into what happens until Morgan wakes up because if I look into it before Morgan tells me." The beginning
He's like,
chapters,
I need to hear Morgan's
okay.
side of the story.
Caveat this with Laura and I had a romp of a time. Before we started recording, we both said, "I'm enjoying myself
Oh yeah.
immensely."
This is a
There
breeze read, and we really like this, but Morgan sucks.
There are also so many plot holes in the beginning section of this novel that I could
Yeah.
just like jump into them like a swimming pool because he's like, well, I can't know what's going on and I can't talk to the wardens because then they'll know I'm hiding Morgan. But also, the second Morgan tells me what's going on, I'm going to go talk to all the wardens and going to find out what they know about Morgan. I just needed to find out first what was going on. I'm like, square that circle for me, Harry.
Sure, makes
I
sense.
don't understand because I thought this was going to be like Harry's going to go solve the mystery without talking to any of them, but no, he immediately goes and talks to them.
He's like, no, I need to be in cahoots with him.
We also do find out that Harry is having huge migraines, likely due to
Yeah.
the psychological damage he had in the previous novels.
Hmm.
But Morgan does wake up and he tells Harry that a member of the senior council, Lafortier, was murdered.
Well, and then he was found like standing over the body with the weapon covered
He
in
goes,
blood. And he's
he
like,
goes, they
I
believe
lost track of
I
time and browned out and I woke up.
He
And there
goes,
I
they
was.
believe I did it, Harry. And Harry goes, why do they believe you did it? He goes, well, I was standing over his body when he died
With a sword,
with a sword. He's missing two
which
days of
was
his
in
life.
fact the murder weapon.
There, there are messages going back between him and a red court vampire, and he resurfaced with millions of dollars in a bank account for
Yes.
him. Uh, he immediately ran. He cloaked himself for 48 to 60 hours to hide and find Harry to help him because he's like, Harry, I've been
That's all the
set
time
up
you got.
and I think you could help me. And I was like, ooh, we have a time limit, people. And then immediately Harry puts him somewhere where it's like, no, we have more time. And I was like, why did you give me 48 to 60 hours if you're going to immediately give me more time, Butcher? Like, I was so
I
excited
didn't
for.
even clock that, honestly. Like I knew it happened, and then I was still under the guise of we have plenty of time. Because now that you're saying it, I was like, damn it, he did do that.
I was like, oh my God, he gave us 48 to 60 hours. This is going to be
Yes.
like time crunch. Harry's going to be tired. We're going to be at our wits' end. And then he's like, let's go into this area where you have plenty of time now. And I was like, Jim Butcher, what are you
Yeah.
doing?
Yep.
Rug pulled out from under Hannah and Laura. So anyway,
Fantasy novels be doing that because
I
they, it seems like a thing in fantasy or sci fantasy where they'll be like, you know what? I need to explain this away. How will I do it? Magic
Harry goes, we have all the sense of urgency in the world and none of the urgency in the world. Actually,
and
we're
lots of
fine.
Frozares on our side.
So Harry's like, oh my gosh, we only have 48 to 60 hours until I find out some other way to slow time down. So let me go run over and talk to Thomas.
I need to see my baby brow.
He goes and he gets some medical supplies from him. He
Mhm.
also asks
Thomas
for
is looking hot.
he is like Thomas is so sexy. My
And
brother
his
is
apartment looks
sexy.
great. Meanwhile,
He's
all my stuff comes from a garage sale.
he's driving a Jag now. He is a sexy, sexy boy. He also asks for Justine. He's like, "Can Justine help look into information for me with the White Court and what's going on with the Red Court vampire?" And Thomas is like, "How dare you ask the woman I love to look into this information?" And
But it's like she
yes,
works for Laura, so
he also is like, "How dare you?" And yes, she can. Like,
quit taking advantage of her. But yes, she will.
and so he's like, all right, well, we'll go find her later in a very schmexy scene.
Mhm.
On his way home, Harry is driving and he all of a sudden gets the inclination to use his wizard sight, which to me
I
sounded like a
actually really
really,
liked this.
I loved the wizard sight. I thought using it while you're driving sounded like a really stupid idea.
You know what? This was very cinematic for me, honestly. I actually really enjoyed this part because I was like, Okay, this is like trippy and weird, and I don't actually understand totally how it works. This is the kind of magic I don't understand that I'm here
I had
for.
to read this section like 3 times to make it make
I
sense.
read it twice because I was
Okay.
like, "Whoa, what's happening?" I like it.
He sees something that isn't quite right, and it's like this
Mhm.
nightmaric mass like behind him. He feels like screaming. He like drives the
Well, he
car
thought
up.
someone was following him.
Yes. And like it's this like nightmaric mass behind him. He drives his car up onto the curb. It feels like he's almost in this car accident, but it's more like psychedelic. It's this really weird
Well,
situation.
he ends up like he wakes up out of this and he's like, my car's stopped. Like, I don't know how I got here. I'm like not seeing things. People are honking at me. This is gonna cause an accident. So he ends up just pulling his car up on the curb and leaving it there,
And
thinking it's
he's
gonna get
he's like
towed,
he
whatever.
goes
I can't,
and
it's
he's
not
like, I'm
safe.
gonna get into a DUI. Like he thought he was gonna get
Hmm.
arrested. So he gets out of the car, he goes to like walk away, and then he immediately like curls up into a ball, being like, something
Hmm.
is not right. And he staggers away into the night and runs to Billy and Georgia's. The
Yes,
werewolves are back,
that
ladies and
we
gentlemen.
needed to see
And,
again.
and immediately Bitcher goes, "Oh my God, I have named too many people Bill. We are going to say that Billy has asked to start going by the name Will. For the rest of this book, Harry will be like, oh God, I got to start calling him Will. He's an adult now."
Well, there's another bill introduced too.
Right.
So,
That's what, like, Butcher's like, I think I need another Bill. So we're going to start calling Billy Will
you know
now.
what?
He's
The
an
thing
adult
is,
now.
there's lots of names that we could be using. I don't know why everybody's got to have,
Butcher,
because then there's
there.
another person named Mad that is in this. I'm like, no.
But sure, there are so many names. There's so many names. Why did we need
Are there any
another white
gyms?
man named white man named Bill? Um, he gets inside their house and he
Mhm.
says, "Guys, there's something out there." And he
Mhm.
immediately like falls asleep for like 88 minutes. Like he is out
82, I think, is what
82.
they
Oh, good.
say.
And he wakes up and Billy says that two of the werewolves have gone outside
Mhm.
tracking whatever is it is out there, but
Kirby and Ariana.
Andy.
Andy.
Yes, so they're out there, but they've only been able to get glimpses of whatever the beast is outside, but they
Mhm.
haven't been able to actually catch the being. And so Harry's like, "All right, Billy, it's you and me. Let's get out there." And so
And them not being able to catch it is like something actually somewhat remarkable because they actually are very good at detecting things. And like Molly's been going around trying to like cloak herself and disguise herself from them, and they're always finding her. So he's like, this is pretty serious if they're not able to pick up on what this is.
Correct. So they go out into the night and there's a huge fight with this being. And it's something between like a mix of like a cougar or a bear, more like a cougar as we go on, but it's a huge
Hmm.
blowout fight. And all of the wolves and Harry are trying to fight against it. And it slams into them. And it even ends up killing Kirby. And
It rips his throat out.
it's like it's this horrible fight and it takes out Andy. She's in horrible shape. They fight it off and Harry realizes that it is this skinwalker, which is a
Hmm.
native Indian um, being from
Hmm.
folklore. And he
Yeah, it's a,
is,
a shapeshifter, basically.
yes. And he's like, we are in trouble now. So Harry has to drop Andy
Mhm.
off at the hospital. And we find out that Kirby and Andy were actually an item. So
Yeah.
Murph is there and she talks to him about this sudden death. Like he kind of is, he's very traumatized because he liked Kirby. He feels like he failed them. And
And he's also like, Andy's going to be devastated now
mhm.
because that was her boyfriend. So I feel terrible.
And he and Murph also kind of connect on the fact that they've both suffered psychic trauma with his headaches. Like she's like, "Are you doing okay? What's going on?"
Hmm.
We also talk about how skinwalkers are no joke, and we're dealing with some dark magic in this book. And with the Morgan of it all hiding back at Harry's place. So Morgan is back at Harry's place, and Harry's like, "Dude, what's going on? Can you tell me everything?" And Morgan is being Morgan, where he's like, "Pride
Hmm.
goes before the fall, boy, and
Hmm.
I'm better than you."
He's
But
basically just being an asshole to someone who he reached out to for help.
well, and again, he's like, "I knew you wouldn't believe that I was evil, but also you suck, and I think you might be evil, and you might deserve to die." It's so bizarre that like
Hmm.
throughout the rest of this chapter, Morgan is frequently telling Harry that the people he surrounds him with are less than and awful. And the people that Harry has surrounded himself with are like people who are not like shiny and new and like the bastions of like perfection, but they all are helpful and willing to do anything for Harry and be there for him at a moment's notice.
Hmm.
And it's like, Morgan, your friends suck and all thought that you were guilty at a moment's notice.
They were going to kill you.
So
Like,
maybe you should like have some self-reflection in all of this.
hmm
Like, you suck. Maybe you're an ex-boyfriend who's a little racist, Morgan. So Morgan is Morgan reveals that the skinwalker likely followed Morgan from Edinburgh, that
hmm
when he ran, he felt some presence running after him. And
Edinburgh for
oh,
British listeners.
Edinburgh.
Like the
Edinburgh.
Duke of Edinburgh.
Edinburgh. Um, and he also says that skinwalkers absorb the magic of those they kill. And Harry's like, you mean
Hmm.
he absorbed the magic of Kirby? And again, Morgan's kind of a dick. And he's like,
He's like, well,
yeah,
that's not that much magic
that's not
compared
that
to
much
all we
magic.
would
Like,
have.
he
Like, okay,
really wanted
someone just died.
he really wanted your magic, Harry. That was the bigger one. And so Harry's like, okay, well, I have to head out. I have some promises to keep. And so he reaches out to Elaine, his friend from the Paranet, to kind of make some connections about the White Council and see what's going on and to warn her about the
Hmm.
Skinwalker. And he is kind of talking about all of these different rumors around the net about Morgan to try to like get people off the trail. Um,
Was it Elaine or was it Bill that he reached out to on the
he reached out to
Paranet?
Elaine first, I thought.
Oh, I don't even remember Elaine being
Oh,
mentioned.
wait, no, sorry, you're right. He talked to Bill. He just talked about Elaine in this section,
Oh,
sorry.
okay.
So yeah,
I
he
was
talked
gonna
to
say
Bill
he,
first. And he he was checking in on the wardens of the Paranet and what
because
was
there's like some wardens that came out of the ways, and he's trying to like figure out how this is all connected or whatever, and just getting the scoop on everything, basically.
correct. And then he actually did call the wardens, including
Hmm.
Anastasia, his
His flame,
girlfriend at this point in the series, the woman
who
he's
was only like
seeing.
400 years old, but she has the rockin' bod of a 25-year-old, so they make it
Well, because
work.
she's switched bodies in a previous novel, so
And
it's
I'm
all
like,
chill.
this is the Edward Cullen of it all, where it's like, it's still weird, Harry. It's
She's also
still
his boss,
weird.
so
Yeah,
and
there's so many layers of this being weird.
he's kind of like, "Hey, I heard about Morgan. Why wasn't I called in? Like it seems like all the wardens are talking." And
Hmm.
she says that his old mentor, Ebenezer McCoy, said that
Hmm.
he shouldn't get involved because Morgan and him have history. So Harry going out after Morgan might send Harry off half cocked and he might not be
Hmm.
reasonable and bring Morgan in with all the deference in the world. So he actually
Yeah.
thinks that Harry won't give Morgan the benefit of the doubt when actually Harry's the only one giving Morgan the benefit of the doubt.
Yeah. And it's also a complicated thing too, because Anastasia is Morgan's
Morgan's old mentor.
teacher. Yeah.
So then Harry goes to a sex club with Thomas to go
Zero.
because there's zero frills
Chicago's
and
hottest club.
at least it's not in the suburbs.
Is
You,
zero.
I just love when Jim Butcher's like the hottest clubs are in the suburbs.
Are in fact in an area where it's mostly retired people. No, this is
And so
actually not. But it's got a lot of things happening. Orgies are happening. People are doing drugs. There's all sorts of vampires all
z-
over the place that are.
and we have the best Harry Dresden paragraph where it goes zero limits, zero inhibitions, zero restraints, zero fulfillment. Because Harry Dresden has all the fulfillment in the world. So they go there to chit chat with Justine about what's going on. And Thomas and Justine have a moment of pure romance that just overtakes Harry, of like, oh, look at
He's
the
just
two
like,
of
how
them.
romantic is this? They can't touch each other, and it's tragic. And she could kill him with her lips of just a single kiss. And she's wearing a
Yeah.
really sexy outfit that I
She's
really
full
dig.
on cat suit where they can't touch it all. But it is
Mhm.
2009, so we do have our mention of the internet and Craigslist because someone has posted a hit on
This
Morgan.
this made me laugh so much where he's like, what the heck is Craigslist? And I'm like, the way that this would be such a like if somebody posted something like this on Craigslist now, I'm like, what a mediocre person
What a mediocre hitman. They're
They
like,
could
no.
not figure out a better way to do this.
They said Craigslist. You must take down
At
Morgan, $5
least be
million.
scarier and go on Reddit. Like, come on.
No, it would be the dark web nowadays, Laura.
That's
He went on
true.
the dark web. You
That's true.
must take out this man. Someone's trying to take out Morgan. Harry's like, this would
And they just use an email that's like lost warden
lost
at
warden
Yahoo.
found at Yahoo. Just Yahoo, the most obscure of the email web addresses.
That makes me laugh so much. I loved the Craigslist ad.
I was like, wow, this is really
Wanted
this
for permanent position, Donald
it's
Morgan, 5 mil
it's
finder's fee, considerations, lost warden found at yahoo.com.
it's so funny because you know that they can't make an update to this because like they did this with the pretty Little Liars books where they tried to update them for like
Hmm.
modern times and they did it in such a clunky way possible where they're like they opened the the Snapchat app and they looked at the texts in there and you're like no they didn't. This is not
Here's my thing though. This still could hold up today. There
that
are
is true.
still people using Craigslist, probably for hitmen. They're just bad at getting them, I'm sure, and they're listing their Yahoo emails.
They're listing their Yahoo emails. But Harry's like, the wardens didn't post this. That's ridiculous. This is not their style. No, they did not. Come on, guys. And then all of a sudden, the family's here, Laura. And one of the madrigals shows up. Oh, no, or one of the wraiths, sorry. I just
The
always call,
wraiths.
yeah, I always
Yeah.
just call them madrigals because how do you not remember magical wraith? Um,
Hmm.
this one is a female wraith. It is
Hmm. Mad.
Madeline,
They call
mad.
her Mad, and I'm like, okay, Mad Mab. There's it's too much.
And she is threatening Thomas because he's not a part of the family anymore. And
And
what's
she's
he doing
flouncing
here?
around. There's like a whole 2 pages dedicated to her entrance and how hot she looks and how she's like kissing people. And then Harry's like, "You look like Jessica Rabbit." And I'm like, "Oh, good God."
And she tries to like seduce Harry, and Thomas takes offense to
Hmm.
this. And she tries to like show ownership over Justine.
To
And
which then they burn her with
well,
Justine's love.
Thomas uses Justine's love to burn Madeline
Hmm.
because
They're related.
they're related and it's very, very complicated and kind of confusing to me. But,
I mean,
what are
it
you going to
seems like it's
do?
one of those, it's definitely taking some liberties with the world building, but it's from what I could take away from it, it seems like it's one of those things because she and Thomas share blood and they're both the same type of like vampire that are like have this strong desire for people. Like Mad doesn't actually like love anyone, she just desires to have everyone type thing,
Yes.
but she is still affected by Justine's love for Thomas because she shares the same blood as Thomas, is what I could
Correct.
take away. It's confusing and it, like I said, takes a few liberties with the magic systems, but
Right.
I still was able to comprehend.
Fair. I was barely able to comprehend, so good job. But anyway, so yes, Thomas burns her. They leave her tied up, and
Hmm.
they
And Justine's there to like, I guess I'll deal with it. Goodbye,
yes, but
guys. Enjoy hunting
Justine's
down Craigslist person.
Justine's kind of like, yeah, look at this item on Craigslist. Someone's looking for your warden. That's pretty much all I could find.
And
I'm
I'm
like,
like,
you guys could have found that from a Google search. Like, you
this
didn't need
was, why did we need to get Justine involved?
because we needed to see the cat suit, Laura.
We needed to
Um,
go into this place where there's a lot of drugs and orgies happening.
And this is the scene where Harry gets to see Anastasia, and we find out that she doesn't believe
Yes.
that Morgan is guilty. So,
And she also like kind of puts it into Harry's head too of like, he could very well be trying to frame you for
yes.
this. And Harry's kind of has a moment where he's like, I never thought of that.
She's like, well, you are someone who would look good for this type of murder.
Hmm.
Like,
That
um,
maybe Morgan showed up because he thought you did it and he's trying to find any kind of evidence to take you down one last time because he's tried a million other times and it hasn't worked.
and Morgan thinks that you're a very guilty party. And so Harry's like, ooh, I have to head back to my apartment. And so he does.
Hmm.
And he walks in on Mouse sitting on both Molly and Morgan.
Morgan, pinning him down.
And apparently, Morgan was being very rude to Molly
Yep.
because he sees her as a warlock.
Hmm.
because she has used dark magic before. And he made her mad, and she kind of went to attack him with a
Hmm.
candlestick, pretty much. And Mouse took them both out. Or no, she went to like use magic on him, and Mouse was like, both of you no, sat on them to
He
like
sat on them, just
de-escalate
pinned
the
them down.
situation. And so uh she gets up, and Morgan is again like very rude to Harry in this moment, and is like dismissive of his magic, and um like says something about using magic in self-defense and getting away with it. And so Molly goes to
Mhm.
attack him again, and this is where like
And
Harry
then
yells at
at
Molly
Molly and is like,
for
"You have to learn to control yourself.
and like
They're always going to try to get to you." And he just did. And she's like, "But he insulted my teacher, which is more of an insult to me than if he insulted me."
but also
Okay.
like Morgan is being really out of line on something who's
Oh,
helping him. Like
but Morgan's awful.
yeah, like, it's so awful. And he's being this terrible person. And like Harry doesn't speak to Morgan in like a you need help, you need us, you need to speak to my person with respect. And like
Hmm.
Harry does set the stage to show Morgan up in a later scene, I'm sure, because he's like, how do you do with your cloaking spells, Morgan? And Morgan's like,
Hmm.
fine. I don't, what are you talking about? And we know as a reader that like Molly is excellent at cloaking spells and
Yep.
is like one of the best in the world. And so
Yes.
like Harry's pointing out like my people's fine, get the fuck out. But like
Yeah.
it is one of those where I'm like, Harry, you can also demand that people respect the people in your home. Like you don't need to act like this. It is very early
Hmm.
2009s to be like, no, you should take the poor treatment of the person in the room and rise above to the point
Hmm.
of total lack of self-respect. Like it was like, oh,
It's very
yikes.
much like a customer is not always right situation.
Yeah. So anyway,
Customer needs
then
to behave themselves if they
Harry's
want
like,
help.
well, we have to go to a third party site because people want to murder you for $5 million, and
On
I need
Craigslist.
on Craigslist, and I need to go see the wardens, even though I said there's specific reasons why I shouldn't. And even though I only have 60 hours to figure out what's happening, I need to give myself more time. So the first few chapters don't actually matter. So actually, we are going to go to this place that I set up all of these wards. So we're all
Hmm.
heading out on a road trip.
We're going
Um,
through the ways, and it's only going to take us 30 minutes to get there because
And so they head on over to a storage rental facility a couple of blocks from Deerfield Square, which was an upscale suburban neighborhood north of Chicago
name drop.
proper. Um, so much fun. And we find out that Harry created this like specific area that has a specific magical ward that can like drop down kind of this like trap if needed. It's like this one-time
Hmm.
trap. And he wants all of them to stay there, Morgan, Mouse, and Molly with Thomas, just in case. And it's right up against the Never Never because he can walk over to the Never Never. Oh, and it's called a Faraday. Um,
Yes.
so a Faraday cage. And he's going to head over to go talk to the wardens to figure out what's going on while they all stay there to remain safe. And Molly's like, I don't want to stay with this man. He's gross. And Harry's like, yeah, I know, but rise above Molly because we're better than him. And so Harry heads on through the Never Never. He takes out a
Through the
couple of
electromagnetic
spiders on his way in a cool
which
Frozaire
they're
situation.
like, "Oh, you're trespassing. You can't go through here." And he's like, "Is this trespassing?" And zaps some faux
Well,
eyes.
he's also like, Queen Mab says I can. And they're like, but can you? And he's like, yes, I can. I literally talked.
Boom.
He's like, I talk to her all the time. Don't do this. And the spiders are like, but can you? And then he's like, Frozen. And then he just walks through.
Love it.
And so this
And
is
so then, like 30 minutes later, he just pops out, and all the wardens, and they're like in their place, and they're like hanging out by fireplaces and everything. And
this
he
is
talks
so
to
funny because
Ebenezer
like
McCoy.
these chapters are so funny because he's just like, so in the warden area, they make a lot of money. And I met so and so, and they told me so and so's over here, so and so's over here, so and so's over here. And it's like, thank you for this breakdown of your trip to Edinburgh, bruh. Like, this is like, Harry is just like, here's what you missed on
Welcome
Glee.
to
Like,
Edinburgh.
Welcome to Edinburgh, bruh. Like, I don't know what's happening. But so Harry goes, he talks to Ebenezer McCoy.
Hmm.
Ebenezer's like, I'm so sorry. Some of this is very silly. I really like this book, but Ebenezer does know about the uh the the Black Council, isn't it? Is it the Dark Council?
The yes.
The Dark Council. Ebenezer is aware that they exist. Literally 2 chapters ago, Morgan is screaming, "The Dark Council doesn't exist," even though he is wanted for murder from someone who
I think
framed
it's the
him.
Black Council, isn't
Oh,
it?
it's the Black Council.
I
He
think
is
because there's the White
screaming.
Council and the Black
Okay.
Council.
He is screaming how the Black Council does not exist because he doesn't want them to exist, because
Hmm.
he believes that the White Council is the bastion of goodness, even though someone framed him for murder. And the only way to make that make sense is someone on the White Council framed him. That's
Hmm.
an idiotic thing to think. Ebenezer McCoy knows the Black Council likely exists because he's
Yeah.
talked to Harry about it. Harry walks up to him and he's like, "Do you think Morgan did it?" And Ebenezer goes, "No reason not to." What? Ebony, so many reasons to think not to. You know the reasons. And Harry goes, "Ebenezer, are you sure no reason not to?" And
And
Ebenezer
then he has
looks,
like a moment where he like looks at him and he stops and he's like, "Oh,
"Oh,
that.
oh, uh,
I wonder.
now that you
Okay."
mention it, you and I frequently talk about a mysterious coup of people who try to set someone up for dark things.
And
Now,
then he's like, "You know
the
what?
son of a gun,
You should talk to our friend who we always call by this racist nickname."
who I'm gonna call Joe, because I actually don't really like his like. I just don't think any of his names are very good.
No.
Um, so Joe, you should go talk to Joe. I think Joe might be helpful because now that you mention it, we do have one reason not to. But also be careful because Morgan also kind of wants to murder you. So just be careful, dude. Okay, you be careful.
I was
And
also confused earlier too when Harry mentions that there's only one warden that actually likes him. And I'm like, who is it? Is it your girlfriend or is it McCoy? Does McCoy not like him?
he
Because he
also
mentions
like
that at one point. He's like, there's only one warden that likes me. I'm like,
also
there is?
Also, many of the wardens like him because Martha Liberty
Yes.
likes him, and
Yes.
also Joe likes him. So also
That's why I'm confused. Which one is the one that he thinks likes him? Because if the rest don't, he's in trouble.
doesn't that one guy like him that always like appears out of nowhere, like the Guardian one? Doesn't that guy like him?
I thought
So
so
many.
too. I don't
It
know.
feels like everyone likes Harry other than the Merlin and
I think
Morgan
Harry is similar to me in therapy, where he's like, everyone hates me except my husband, and
and Hannah,
that's
uh,
it.
who forces me to hang out with her once a week. Uh,
I only have one friend. Everyone else hates me.
and
And all these Black Council people just keep coming around, and I
so
can't get rid of them.
So then Harry goes and he talks to Joe, his other friend, and
Hmm.
Joe says, "Hey, look, I get that Morgan was probably framed, and I have to make psychic energy representations of who actually killed LaForge or whoever, whatever
Whatever
his
his
name
name
is.
is. Yeah.
But here's the thing, I'm probably gonna lie
Hmm.
because I think we should probably take down Merlin. I think it's too powerful,
And I
and
think he's trying to cause a civil war
I think he's trying to cause a civil war, actually. So
because
I
he's very much kind of into colonialism and wants to.
And weirdly enough, I I have a very racist name, but I am in the story, I am a native Indian, and I had a tribe once, and my tribe was lost because of civil war.
Yes.
So I'm willing to let an innocent man die for
To save
the
more people.
minor threat of a civil war. That's
Hmm.
my storyline, Harry Dresden. And
Hmm.
Harry Dresden says, "All right, Joe, see you later." What? What?
Good luck with that.
And he says, "All right, bye, Joe. I'll have to think of something else." What's happening, Laura?
What's happening is all around here we have this weird warden named Peabody who is
Yeah,
clearly
Peabody,
the villain.
who's
Clearly.
Peabody, who walks up and says, "Hey, Harry," and Peabody goes, Hey Harry, I'm villainous. Have we
He's like,
met
did
before?
you know that I'm the villain? Because I am.
Did you know that I wrote a book in German and the German language is complicated? Did you know that
And here's the
Germans were
thing, for someone that's
Nazis?
giving all the red flags of being the main villain, Harry also kind of clocks that he's a villain and is like, you know who I'm gonna be an asshole to? That guy.
Well, it's
Oh.
so strange. It's so strange. And then so then
It's such a dead giveaway with this guy though. Like,
oh yes, thank you. So
am
I
I
was like,
right?
no, 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 you are because I kept saying to myself, you have to remember to bring up Peabody because if you don't, then at the end of the book you're gonna have to say, Hannah, I kept
So
forgetting to
he's
bring up Peabody
basically
and
like
he's
an
so
admin assistant to the
yes,
wardens, and he's handling a bunch of stuff, and Harry just keeps being a jerk to him because he's
yes.
not actually a warden. He's just a wizard at this point. So he's helping the wardens with all of this bookwork and everything, and he has to help
And
Harry
he keeps
access
running in
the
and going,
file of this warden who died. And
yes.
Harry is supposed to sign for it and everything, refuses to do so because he wants to show it to Murphy and all this stuff. But
Which is a
anyways,
huge giveaway of like, you
yes.
need to sign for this. And Harry goes, I'm not signing anything. And I said,
Mhm.
he was signing something. I don't know what he was signing, but
Yes.
it's a good thing that Harry didn't sign for it.
But it's just
Like,
like Peabody is so suspicious and like angry, and the way that he's just checking all the boxes of being the put upon person who no one would suspect because he just does bookwork and helps everyone. How could he be evil? That yeah, he's the main villain.
I
If
kept
he's
saying,
not the main villain, I'll be shocked.
yeah, Laura's not going to eat a shoe because we're not quite
No,
sure yet. We haven't read that far, but
but you
we
know what?
would
I will be
both be
shocked.
shocked. I kept saying in my head, please bring up Peabody. You can't get to the end and be like, oh my God, I forgot to bring up the most villainous character in the world. Literally, Harry says, I read that book where all the Germans made fun of you for saying something wrong in German. And Peabody goes, Germans are a harsh people with a harsh language. And I was like, he literally wrote a book in German. He's so
Mhm,
villainous. But anyway, so Harry goes over and he talks to the Merlin who Morgan works for.
mhm.
And the Merlin's like, I don't like you, Harry. And Harry's like, but what if I thought Morgan were innocent? And the Merlin's like, you make a good point. Hey,
You
Peabody, hey,
might
evil
be
villain,
okay.
you should give him the paperwork that gives all
Give
of the
him the
details.
file
Give him the
that has
file.
all the details on everything that's classified and no one's supposed to have. We'll give that to him.
And it's so strange because the Merlin's like, why would I give you all the details? And Harry's like, why would I want the details if I just wanted him to die? I could just let him die. And Merlin's like, you make a good point. Yep, let's give him the confidential files. Load him up. And Peabody's like, please sign for it. Don't read the fine print where it says I get to murder you now. Just sign for it. And Harry's like, I'm not signing
Yeah,
anything. And he
this
runs
is
away.
honestly like one of the, I think this may be the most obvious villain giveaway that we've had
I
yet.
really hope you and I just at the end of this are like, I guess we were wrong. And it
You
was
know,
that
wouldn't that be hilarious? I
Anastasia.
have only read through the section that we were supposed to read through today. So I don't know what's going to happen, but wouldn't that just be hilarious if
You and
it
I have
was
gone,
not Peabody?
you and I were just sitting here like, well, it's obviously Peabody, so what are we even reading for anymore? And if it's not Peabody, you and I are just gonna sit at the end and be like, remember 2 weeks ago when we were so certain it was Peabody?
I think that would
Um,
be just so funny.
but yeah, I mean, neither one of us has finished this book. We've both only read
Yeah.
through chapter 17. We've been so remiss in reading right now, guys.
Hmm.
So, like, but he is very villainous and he did want Harry
Oh,
to sign
yeah.
paperwork. It's just very suspicious. So, we'll see. But, so Harry he doesn't sign away his life rights
Nope.
and
He
he
goes and
takes it
takes the
back.
file to Karen to look
And
over.
yes, and they look through it, and she's like, "Man, it's it's so funny." There's a scene in Bones where they're looking into a murder, and they have this helpful sheriff, and he goes, "Well, I don't know if it's evidence, but this wall of knives is really creepy." And Murphy goes, I don't know if it's suspicious, but he's 340 years old and he was
And
giving
he's like, we're not
Bones
looking, we're not talking about that.
like, and so Harry's like, that's not suspicious, that's just a wizard. And she's like, okay, well, he was holding the sword, that's suspicious. But it does look like it's kind of a setup, and they just go over all the
Mhm.
details we already knew about, guys.
Yes.
But it does look like he might have like blacked out, and there's a lot of
Hmm.
theories and deductions, and they can't find where the money is. And we don't know much, but we do know that the phone rang and Thomas is in trouble.
He calls and he's like, Harry, you gotta get here fast. And
Ma
luckily,
called, the bees are
Karen
back.
knows where to go.
Um, and so the storage park in Deerfield Square is under attack. And
Mhm.
that's where Laura and I finished reading. So you have to
We
come
forgot to
back
mention the
next week.
part where Harry says again that when he's describing Karen that she's like tiny and she's more cute than pretty and looks like someone's cool aunt, which she may
Ah,
be because she's from a large Irish Catholic family. And I was like, there it is. It's back. We finally had to mention because she's no
well,
longer a love interest for
he's
Harry
dating again.
and
So
she's dating. So she's back to being an aunt.
he has a boy or he has a girlfriend now, so she
Mhm.
can't be a love interest. Um,
She's got like girl next door cuteness and is more cute than pretty. Someday she'll be back to being hot enough
one
for
can
him.
only hope. Well, Laura, y'all will have to join us next week as we dive into chapters 18 through 34 and we decide, is Peabody still suspicious or did we just get it
He's
fully
incredibly
wrong?
suspicious.
Will we go to Laura eating a shoe if she's wrong?
You know what? I've yet to eat a shoe because these are such obvious
He's so
giveaways. Like,
suspicious. I just love that you were like, he's the villain, right? And I was like, oh yeah, like I had to remember his name, but like, yeah,
yeah,
he's
Peabody
incredibly
is
suspicious.
clearly the villain. Like I'm kind of flipping through the book to mark the end of where I have to read next. And I'm like, you know what? I should just like skip to the end here to see did Peabody
No,
do it?
this is the first time we've ever like not read farther ahead. Well, the first time you've not read farther ahead in a
I'm
Dresden
pretty good at
book.
no spoilers,
Yeah,
but
so
yeah, this it just seems Butcher spoiled it for me. But you know what? I do
you spoiled it for me.
I do really
Oh,
enjoy this book so far. It's been a romp.
it's so fun. It's so funny how, like, when again, when we sit down and I'm like, why did he have so many plot holes? And you're like, oh my gosh, he did, but we still had the best time.
Hmm.
It's so good.
And you know what? I've been reading the physical paperback and I enjoy a mass market paperback
Oh,
and it's my favorite format. I think I enjoy a mass market paperback. Actually, my favorite is an Orbit paperback, like the large ones that are
oh
floppy.
gosh.
But then I
Orbit
like
paperbacks.
this
Orbit needs to sponsor us
Orbit.
because we're here to
We
talk
love you,
about your
Orbit.
mass market, or we're here to talk about your paperbacks specifically.
Oh,
You guys do
Orbit's
it right.
paperbacks are
It's
so good.
it's better
Oh,
than almost anything in the world. But can I tell you
but you
something
know what?
very special?
These are
We
really
are
nice
we are
paperbacks in
in
mass market for
we
the
are
Dresden Files.
we are in the era of Hannah's husband's Dresden copies in hardback. He
Okay.
has
He
a
was getting them as
specific
they came out then.
not exactly. He has an era of us going to used bookstores together and him
Okay.
buying every single Dresden, and a lot of the later ones are the ones he's been able to find. And so we are in that era right now. So this one is
Does
from
he have
my
all of them in hardcover or does he have
he is
most in paperback?
he's trying to find them in hardcover because he does
Gotcha.
prefer the hardcover. So this one is from Myopic Books in Chicago. So we bought
Cool,
it
cool.
for 11.50 sci-fi.
Nice.
Yes, and I have a Myopic book little bookmark right there. So
Nice.
we will be joined by the
I love how
readers
everybody
next
has their
week.
favorite format. Like the the paperbacks are my preferred, the mass markets, but I do like the look of that hardcover. I You get more cover art and everything,
Hmm.
and it's pretty.
Well, everyone, join us next week. And while you wait, please follow us at OWWR
Hmm.
Pod on Blue Sky and Instagram and TikTok if you want to see some old stuff while Hannah takes a break from posting on there because she takes a
Hmm.
break from being on there. You can also check out ourpod.com if you want to see our reading list and what's going on over there, or email us at ourpod@gmail.com or join our Discord. We're always ready, willing, and able to talk over there.
Yeah, let
You
me know
can
who you think the villain is of this story.
we do have a Dresden posting over there.
You know, there's two options. It's Peabody, and then you can also talk to me about what a villain McCoy, or not McCoy, Morgan is. You can talk to me about what a villain Morgan is.
Also, if you want to, I very rarely push this, but it is something nice. You can donate to the podcast in our show notes through Buzzsprout. So if you want to do
That would
that,
be
that's
really
that would be
appreciated.
really appreciated. If you ever want to help turn the lights on, help buy us microphones when we need to replace ours, because
Hmm.
sometimes we need to do that, like
Yeah,
recently.
like
Um,
now. Oops.
And if you could rate, review, and subscribe, it's a great way of bringing new people to the podcast. And we
And
do
sharing too. We really appreciate that. It does
appreciate
actually
it.
help.
It really helps. Well,
And thanks
then
for listening today.
bye.
Bye.